Hi everyone.
Hello.
Oh, can you all hear me?
Yep.
Sorry.
Hi. I think we're already recording, so just be mindful of that. I heard a message that says recording in progress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we are all here. Wait, where did Deborah?
Yeah, so listen, today I'm feeling a bit under the weather, so I'm not going to be putting my camera on. Just so,
Okay.
so you know. And I gotta change the name because whenever I use this thing, it always comes up as you.
You're me again. We're there, two of
Yeah,
us. Um,
exactly. Oh my
all right.
God.
Well, it is 6:32, so I will officially call the meeting to order. It is February 11th, 2026, and this is the Community Safety and Social Justice Committee. Under Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, extended through June 30th, 2027, the ability of public bodies to meet in a fully remote. Oh, yes. Sorry, the wording is so weird on this. Fully remote or hybrid manner. I'm sorry. Members of the public who wish to access the meeting may do so via Zoom or by telephone. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. So I will go over the agenda and then we'll have the meeting. So we'll start with announcements, review minutes, any member reports, public comment, Chris and DEI updates, and Camille can't be here with us today. Um, there is the sample bylaw regarding consent stops and pretext stops, question of support for ICE accountability town council resolution, any resident oversight board updates, youth empowerment center updates, retreat planning, public comment, and items not anticipated. And I will just say that there is an item that wasn't anticipated within 48 hours. It was a request for a joint statement from the Human Rights Commission, who meets next week, following an incident that happened in Belchertown at Gill's Auto Repair, which just moved from Amherst right across on Route 9. And they received a racist message on their door. So we wanted to put out a statement together just to say that we denounce what happened. So that came in to me later than it could have made it onto the agenda, but I would like to touch on it today. So let's see, does anyone have any announcements? No? All right, no announcements. Um, Minutes. I did not have a chance to read the minutes. Should we table those for next meeting? Yes.
Yes, let's table them.
Um, any member reports? I guess I can just say, and we'll get into it a little bit later. I've been working with some Amherst residents to put forward a resolution about ICE. It did go in front of GOL last night, which is why I hadn't been able to get it forward to you yet because that didn't post until really late as well. But they have approved, the town council has approved, or the GOL committee of the town council has approved the resolution to go forward to be discussed at the full council meeting on the 23rd. So the group of residents who are co-sponsoring are looking for community co-sponsors, whether that's on an individual level or a group or public body level. So I was going to bring that to our attention and we'll talk
Yeah,
about
for
it.
me, the only thing that I want to add, because it's been circulating around on social media that I guess Big Y uses like this or collaborates with ICE and uses like this platform called Image that kind of works with ICE to make sure, quote unquote, they're not hiring anyone that's undocumented and all those other things. So that's something for us to pay attention to. And I'm sorry, I'm just like, hey, this is our community. I mean, obviously, they're in Hadley, but they're close enough. We all shop there, so need to verify that because obviously if they're collaborating with ICE, I'm not going to be shopping at Big Y, And I want, and supposedly there's 9 other places that are collaborating with ICE in that way. Um, to say that they collaborating with ICE so that they don't hire undocumented people and stuff like that. So, um, and when we get to that point, I did contact Paul, so he sent a report for youth empowerment. Um, but we'll touch upon that when we get to it. And there was one more thing, but right now I'm not really remembering what it is, so I'll I'll say it later.
Um, there are some loud sounds happening in my home, and I'm not sure what that means. I apologize if I make weird faces. Um, so we can move on to public comment. I see one member of the public with us. If you would like to make a public comment, you can use the raise hand function and we will call on you. There will be an additional public comment period at the end of the meeting. Should anybody join or anybody want to make a comment that hadn't been made previously?
Yeah, just to say this, because like I said, I've been under the weather. I did not send out my usual reminders to people and stuff like that. So that's why we don't have as many people on attending our meeting tonight. But that's something that we should all do, really. We should be sending out reminders to our listservs, about our meetings and everything so that, as many people as possible can attend. Like I said, I've been under the weather, so I haven't sent, so now we only have one person. We need to like be putting like all of us as committee members should be like, before the meetings, sending out a blast to your listserv and being like, we meet, you know what I'm saying? Knowledge is power. If people are not attending our meetings, then they don't know what's going on. So
Mhm.
I'm just putting a plug for that. I mean, that's something I do every month, before we meet is do a blast so that people know when we're meeting. It's important.
I'm not seeing any hands up for public comment, so I am going to move on to CRES and DEI updates. Camille is not with us tonight, but she did send a report that's in the packet. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any answers to any questions, so I don't know if we want to just like pull that up and look at it. Um, but Philip is here, so we can hear about DEI from Philip first and then figure out what to do about CRES.
Sorry, everybody. I'm working on two screens here, but got it. Yeah, so our DEI update is also in your packet. I'll just read a few of the things that we are doing here just to highlight them. So we celebrated Black History Month with a flag raising and an unveiling of an exhibit at Town Hall honoring the 100 years of celebrating Black history. The Jones Library joined us there. It's a pretty well attended event. If you have time, please go look at the panels up in Town Hall. They're honoring local educators. The department participated in a conversation around debate, discussion, and dialogue at the vet breakfast that happens every first and third Friday of the month. That was at the request of the community members there. I think they've just wanted us to highlight how to have conversations in a meaningful way than rather than debating one another in conversations. We are looking ahead, are having a community conversation on February 26th with Community Heart and Soul. They're an organization that kind of has the framework of, looking at your community and what you love about it, and then moving on to actionable, tangible actions from there. So it's a new initiative that we're having. So if you're able to join us on February 26th, that would be great. Everybody is welcomed. And as far as kind of the framework is going, we're having Community Heart and Soul run most of it. We're just hosting the event, so they are the ones running it. So it will be interesting to see their process and how they can move along some of those conversations in our community. On February 21st, we will be attending the Hampshire Queer Conference that will be happening at Hampshire College. That is an annual event that is hosted there. And then I just want to highlight some youth programming. So February 25th, we will be having our reality fair, which is like the game of life. Kids will choose kind of a career pre-hand if they register. If not, we have a packet for them when they come to the door, so that way they can still participate. And then they will go through various scenarios through that. Every Saturday in March, we will be hosting our youth entrepreneurship program where kids will make items that they would like to sell at the Amherst Global Village Festival. So that is still open up for registration as well. And then speaking of the Amherst Global Village Festival, as you all know and probably have seen on social media, it is happening April 11th. It will be from 10 to 6. We are still doing a call out for performers, vendors, and volunteers. Anybody interested, please use the form that is on our website, on social media, has been blasted out, I think, just about every way that it can be. And the deadline to fill out that interest form is March 6th. So please just note that in whoever it is you're telling that, please get it in before March 6th so we can have a successful event and incorporate as many people as possible. Lastly, the DI newsletter. Goes out. It went out to all of you all. It is a part of the package there. And I think that is it on my end.
Thanks, Philip. Does anybody have any questions? I'd just like to say thank you so much for all the work you guys put into those monthly newsletters, and the updates are really thorough. So I appreciate receiving those.
It's great. Thank you.
Mhm. Anybody else have anything about DEI before we move on to Cress? Erica.
I just had a quick question. It's great that you're doing 101 and 102 trainings with all the different departments. Is it still just self volunteering to participate, or has there been any change regarding policy? For example, I know for the state, when new people were hired, they're required to do certain types of training, including diversity and inclusion training. So I'm just wondering for the town of Amherst.
Yep. So we do still offer the trainings every third Friday of the month, and they are voluntary. So staff selects in. We do offer annual department trainings that we have a more chance to get to as many as departments. But as far as onboarding goes, our onboarding process currently we don't have a training from our department.
Thank you, Philip.
Um,
Uh,
sorry, um, Allegra.
yes.
Just a quick question, Philip. I saw that there was a ICE bystander training on February 4th. Will there be any more in the upcoming future?
Yep, so the next one is March 7th. I'm unsure if it is filled now, but I would say on, and I forget what group is putting it on right now, so you'll have to forgive me. But I would say to go check it out before it fills up.
Isn't it Luce? Luce is the one that's doing it, right?
Right, I forget who's hosting it, like
Oh,
the
okay.
actual location where it's
Oh, okay,
putting.
gotcha. Yeah, but if you go on the Luce one, it has the date, March, whatever it is, March 7th. And then, yeah, you have to register. And I got caught out there because I was like promoting it for the February one, and then I forgot to register, so I wasn't even able to attend. So by the time I went to register, it was already like full. So they fill up very quickly. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be around March 7th. So I'm not going to be available. But if you all are going to attend, make sure you register like now. That's what I would recommend.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. So do people want me to put the CRESS report up on the screen?
Yeah, if you could,
Oh,
that would be great.
let me see. Can you see that? Yeah,
That's our agenda, right?
our
Yeah.
agenda. Okay,
Okay.
right.
Hmm.
All right, lots of minutes. Okay, so wait, what is this? Ah, all right. So how do I make that go away? There are several new policies created and adopted, available if
Well,
anyone would like.
we're just seeing the agenda though. We're not seeing the
You,
actual.
it didn't move to the page.
No, I think you have to go on the side and there's like the different
Okay,
documents. Yeah, then you got to click on one of those because right now
is
it's just
that
the agenda.
it's still just the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
I can try sharing my screen, Allegra.
okay,
Oh, let's see. How's that working?
that's better.
Yeah. Can you just amplify it a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right. So there are new policies that are available. If anyone would like a copy, we can contact Cress. As of January, Cress is fully dispatchable through the Emergency Communications Center. As of Friday, February 6th, 7 calls received from the ECC for Cress response. Due to the students being on break and not in town, along with extreme cold, response numbers across the board are lower for this time of year. It's anticipated that numbers will continue to climb when ECC sends more calls to Cress as weather improves and students have returned. Qualtrics, Cress is using Qualtrics for data collection and reporting of CAD responses. Cress is utilizing an internal log to capture the multitude of interactions that do not rise to the level of a CAD response for more robust data collection. Fully staffed based on the FY26 budget. Director, administrative assistant, and 6 responders. Final interviews next week for the 6 responder position with anticipated start date within a few weeks. And 2 responder positions frozen in the FY26 budget. And hired a program manager through FY26. Um,
So if I may ask a question, when and it's of course it's based on what we understand from fully staffed.
mhm,
So I thought the fully staffed would have been 8, not 6.
right.
Yeah, it's just based on the fact that they froze, yeah, that he froze those two positions. That's why she's saying fully staffed based on the fact that those two were frozen, but it should fully staffed really is 8 positions, yes.
So one of the things that we talked about in our last meeting was how to advocate for the positions, and I I, I have been drafting a letter that's once I'm comfortable share with the group. I've been doing some research to put some facts behind it as to how alternative response to policing can save the town money because these positions being frozen is purely a fiscal issue, not necessarily it's a money issue. So we have to figure out how to navigate around the money issue. Um, do we know when these budget conversations are happening? I think that's one of the questions we asked in last month's meeting is, do we still have time to submit something to town manager to advocate for these 2 new positions, these frozen positions, rather?
I mean, I think, yeah, we need to find that out, but Allegra, did you know when the,
So I don't know when exactly the decisions will be made. I know that I think at the February, I think at the meeting last Monday, the town manager said that they had originally projected that health insurance costs were going to rise by 18%, and now that number is projected to be closer to 8.5%, I think, so that there will hopefully be more money to play with in the budget. Philip, is
Yep,
that
that's correct. Yep. So at a conference that we were all at in January, it was projected an 18% increase, and it is an 8.5, so that's going to be much less. As far as budget presenting, those talks are currently happening with department heads in terms of submitting those things, and Paul has to submit his report or his budget to the t town council by May 1st. So all that will be happening right now.
Okay, so we still have some time to submit something for Crest. Now, I think I had asked, and I don't know if Camille was comfortable sharing, Crest's budget proposal with 8 people versus 6 people. I don't know if that was ever shared. I don't remember seeing any emails from her about that. And this is not a question for you, Philip, because I know you may not know, but from the group as a whole, I think in the last meeting we had talked about that. I don't remember seeing her sharing anything.
I
Yeah,
don't
I don't
recall.
remember that either. Yeah. I think we just need to, maybe you could just reach out to her and like, copy
Okay.
myself and Allegra in it and just say if she could share that with us.
Yeah, because I think it would be helpful if in the letter we can actually put numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we need to, but I think, besides Cresto, we still need to also put in, some of the same things that we've had in the past around like, youth empowerment, DEI. I think we want to add all of those in there too.
Well, and so we did submit a letter a few months ago that had everything. And I'm happy to find it and resend it to the group but I think also doing both and is important. I mean, I think it sounds like Everald's been doing some specific research about community responders, and I think if we could have that and also a reminder about the other programming, especially with DEI. And I think looking at what Paul has said, because he sent us an email like right before we jumped onto this call, so
Yeah.
we didn't have too much
Yeah.
time to digest what it says, but
Yeah,
no,
yeah, and I think like obviously Everald, what you've been working on, I think would be like the priority in terms of that comes out first, but we still need to make sure that we're still advocating and stating the other ones too, because obviously and for me, I disagree in terms of not disagree, but I'm like I think we're giving them a pass when we just say it's budget in terms of Crest because it's not budget, it's because people have been saying that Crest isn't effective and so on and so forth. Because if it was budget, then they should have frozen more of the police positions and not Crest positions. You see what I'm saying? So two positions got frozen out of in a program in a department that only had 8 responders already to begin with. So that's, so it's very targeted, very intentional what the town manager did in terms of decreasing Cress's positions by 2. Very intentional to really, well, I'll put it right out there, to get rid of Cress, that for it to be ineffective and so to get rid of Cress. So that's why in our letter, we want to be very clear in terms of the importance of Cress and the fact that these positions, need to be reintroduced, and we need to ask for more money. It's not just to unfreeze those 2 positions. It's to actually, have money to hire. So put together again like a lot of the budget that CSWG had originally shared. Like Crest needs to be fully funded, fully funded, and not the situation which is basically the town slowly but surely trying to get rid of Crest. That's what I see.
So I don't disagree with you but one of the things that we had talked about was strategic goals. And if they're framing this as a budget issue, then we should attack it as a budget issue. Um, we make the argument as to why um, it should be, appropriately budgeted for. And that ties to your larger point of, you know, this, it can only be effective if it's fully funded. And it can only be fully funded if it goes back to the original recommendation of the Community Social Justice Work Group. But if they're making an argument now as to and I've seen where there is there's financial constraints, not just with Amherst, but with other towns too. But I do believe that for these two additional 8 positions, it would not be a significant spend for the town to reinstate these. And I think we make that argument and then fight the bigger argument.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Can I ask Philip a clarifying question? Because I feel like last time we had talked, we heard that the town manager had asked all the departments to give like a 10% decrease in budget picture of what that would look like for each department. And I think that was under the operation of the 18% increase in health insurance costs. So I was just wondering if there had been any different guidance now that the health insurance projection looks a little bit lower, like if they had come back and said, hey, plan for a 5% decrease instead, or
At this time, no. The 10% decrease for all proposed departments is still there. We have not been given any guidance for any new things. I think the offset from the health insurance is going to be helpful, but I think there is still a decrease coming to the town's budget in some type of way. And I know that that is town council asking Paul to come up with kind of where it's coming from. So all departments are coming up with that. So like I'll give an example for DEI. I mean our operating budget is only 13,500. So a 10% decrease is very significant on our end. And our proposal is basically, well, we would cut a lot of the funding that we have for programming, and basically it would pay for some of our salary, and Pamela is presenting to even, have hours cut on her end. So it's not the most equitable way to do so across department wise, because there are departments that have bigger budgets, less budgets, and the significance and impact have a lot of severities on depending on every department. I am unsure what Camille is proposing on her 10% decrease proposal, but that's what I have.
So this is very helpful to know. And I mean, she works at the town of Amherst, so she should make do what Paul is asking. I mean, as a responsible department head, do that. But this is our opportunity to say, we understand the ask for the 10%. However, we disagree with it, and here is why we disagree with it. It shouldn't be Chris shouldn't have a 10% decrease. Quite frankly, we're asking for it to be fully funded beyond, even the 6 that they have to the 8. And so, do we know what that 18% actually equates to in actual dollar value? Because if it was meant to be 18 and 18% equates to, say, $800,000, but now it's only 8%, that's now significantly, it's less than half. So it's like, do we now have potentially $400,000 to play with? Because if we know actual numbers, then we can point to actual numbers. Is there any way to find that out?
Certainly. I mean, I think that would be a conversation for the finance director and Paul. That they would have the best numbers on that.
Okay.
Everald, is that something you'd be willing to reach out to them and ask?
So I would rather ask the finance director because I want to actually not just write a letter to Paul, but actually have a conversation with Paul.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Um,
who was our finance director?
Sean Mangano,
Mhm.
he he just returned to the position. He was in the position for a while, left for a little bit, and then just came back and like,
So I'll find his email on the town website.
I can email it to you, Everald, if that's
Okay,
easier.
it is easier. Thank you.
Yep.
But yes, I think it would be very good to know that, hey, we were planning to, not to spend an extra $800,000, and now we don't have to. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Um, so should we move on with the Crest update?
Yes, thank you.
So I'm assuming that Dan
Wait,
Garcia is
wait,
the new program
sorry.
manager. Yeah,
Sorry, before we move on, so I guess like, but what are we doing in terms of deadlines? So May 1st is when he needs to get the budget in. We're in February right now. I know we don't have a retreat until March. So what are we thinking about in terms of sending something to Paul? We need to, obviously the sooner the better, but of course we need to do a good job. So are we saying by the next meeting,
I was gonna say I can commit to finalizing with actual numbers and everything, submit something so we can discuss it at the next meeting and then
Mhm.
like send it like right away.
Okay,
perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good plan. Yeah.
Um, so I'm there's Dan Garcia's um, intro. He's the new program manager, which will only be a position funded through the end of June. Is that correct, Philip?
That's correct.
Okay. Um,
I'm sorry, so let me interrupt this. I'm sorry.
yep,
So does that mean then that we need to advocate for three people to up? Because if this is only till June,
right.
yeah,
That sounds like a reasonable
yeah.
idea. I mean, because I think this was the last of the money from the public health grant. If yeah, so and that grant is no longer a thing for the next
So
fiscal year.
it's a weird cycle, and so I think this could be helpful, and I would imagine that Camille would want support with this, is that pu the public health department, the grant they apply for it, they don't hear back from it until like September, October, sometimes November, depending on schedule. So during the timing, it ends the June 30th deadline. And so from July to whenever you hear that you now have this money or don't have this money is kind of just a like stopgap there. No, there's no funding for any position. So this is what happened with last year. Then you get told, oh, well, you do have the money, but you're not going to get the money until December. And then in December, then you can hire someone, and then it's only for 6 months. So that is what happened last year. That is what was communicated to Daniel this year is that, he's on until June 30th, unless some other money comes to Crest in some type of way that they can fund him and then possibly get this grant again that then can continue to fund his position.
Is his position in any way akin to Camille's number two?
That's a great question. I don't know how they structure that.
Because she still doesn't have a number two.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's critical that we put in about, hiring, so not through grants, but to actually have a budget for
Yeah.
an
Mhm.
assistant director. I mean, Camille can't continue to just be the sole person there. We saw what happened before in terms of like when, like let's say if she needs to do a leave of absence or something like that, then you're back in the same situation where you have to
Yes.
go put a leadership team. And I mean, what is that? That's nonsense,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
that does cost a ton of money.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
you lost all the institutional knowledge of
Yeah.
how the program might operate and basically presented as starting from square one, peg one,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
first step. I don't know, whatever. It's starting all over again, basically.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, exactly. So,
uh,
yeah, it's a critical position to have.
yeah. So shall we move on? Let's see.
Hmm.
All right, so there's the monthly newsletter. It's on the town website. Um, so they have community support and engagement, doing the UU breakfast, the vets breakfast, Craig's Doors, supporting the winter program. Philip, do you have any idea what that means? Like, does that mean helping people get to Craig's Doors?
So, how Craig's Doors is still a part of the Econo Lodge for the time
Okay.
being. It's helping
Mhm.
with that
Okay.
funding.
Survival Center support. Supported the ICE Peace Walk done by UMass students and the Not Bread Alone Wednesday dinner. Trainings, new and ongoing. Luce, Alice, advanced CPR and food safe and allergen awareness.
I think the next part is just the newsletter.
Okay, so here's the newsletter. I'm not going to read it out loud. Um, but there is their calls. They had 34 calls in December, provided 54 services. I did want to go down and look a little bit maybe at the actual Crest log. I think this is kind of helpful to see. And so yeah, it looks like they are starting to have the dispatch reports. So that's cool. I don't know if this is available on the website in real time or if this is something that like once a month would get uploaded, but
Yeah, but I think though, I think this was even because remember we had after our meeting, right? The town council
Mhm.
said, "Hey, you need to have dispatch protocols in place by the end of December." So I
Mhm.
mean, I'm still seeing like maybe one call from dispatch. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I mean,
Mhm.
it's not
And
enough.
this is before I guess they fully went online because these are December dates and
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So so these numbers need to go way up. Come like when we see the January numbers and things like that. So well, but it's good. It's good that she's including this, and I hope she
Mhm.
does include these types of things because that's important information for us on CSSJC.
do you want me to keep scrolling, Allegra?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's
So that's Daniel,
that's
their new,
Dan.
yeah,
Hmm.
Dan. And then their newest responder, he goes by TJ.
Okay.
Cool. So they are at five responders with one position left to fill.
Correct. And they are having second round of interviews next week with the hopes of offering soon and then whatever timing the person needs to um get on board.
Excellent.
Good.
This was our update.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Let's see. I mean, I don't have any answers about Cress. Any other things we'd like to have
Well,
answered as a group?
Well, I guess the only thing that I would add, because I saw towards the end of the newsletter again about the morning movement and
Mhm.
and all of those things, and you all heard my concerns around it. I actually got some community members who contacted me from when Ray had done the presentation to now, right? Also very concerned about the information that's shared there and how the police are interacting with our young people and things like that, and the fact that a lot of our young people, of course, they a lot of them they need to go to that. You know what I'm saying? So it's not as if it's like a choice or something, and then they go, then they're having these interactions with the police. So and I know obviously Erica, you had sent something, and we had known about the Cup of Joe that's happening right now, or happened a little bit before with the police, which was very interesting that they scheduled it at the same time as CSSJC. Coincidence? I think not. So, because I'm like, those are the types of engagements we need to have with the police to really ask them some of these questions and things like that. So, we're working with some members to see about scheduling something else with the police so that we all can be there and we all can attend. Because I'm really interested in talking to Ting and some of the other folks out in the police who I know obviously are not very interested in talking to us or even more specific, talking to me. But, you know, I'm ready to talk to them though. But anyway, yeah, just want to make sure I make that point.
Thank you, Deborah. Anything else before we move on? All right. So I haven't heard anything else about the Resident Oversight Board. I think GOL has met twice now. The first time was just to kind of figure out who was going to be chair, vice chair, and talk about what they had left over to talk about from last council session. But as far as I'm aware, the actual like bylaw of the Resident Oversight Board has not yet been discussed. So I don't think that there's any update on that unless you know differently, Philip.
Nope, that's correct. There's process to discuss it in GOL and with hopes of bringing it to the council with the timeline that they gave, which was, I believe, to bring it
April.
forward in April.
Yeah.
Okay. Erica.
Do we know who our liaison is going to be from town council?
Oh, I have not heard back yet. That I think, did they decide those yet, Philip? Do you
So
know?
that they have decided what groups they're going to tell town council that needs liaison. Town council will then appoint liaison, and that is going to happen at their 23rd meeting here. So coming up on next Monday or in 2 Mondays, whenever their next meeting is. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
it's not the 23rd.
I think it is the 23rd.
Yeah.
I think. I
But
don't think they're
yep,
meeting next
yes.
week.
But
No, because
it is being proposed that CSSJC does need a staff liaison, so that is going to them.
excellent.
I do have like I think we need to think about this too in terms of like what we want to say around Rob, right? That I know it's going before the whatever the governing board or whatever, but I think we should kind of maybe send something to them too to say, we expect, certain decisions to be made in April because, Resident Oversight Board has been years and, they've wasted all this time and they're still wasting time, you know? So we need to make sure that they really understand that this needs to happen, you know? So I suggest we contact them or what have you. I don't know, maybe Allegra, you and I contact maybe some members. We need to give it some thought, but like make a decision by like maybe, by our March meeting to
Mhm.
say if we reach out to a few town councilors and are like, listen, we're keeping an eye on this and we
Yeah.
want, this to be, Rob needs to be established, obviously with the investigatory model too. We need to say
Mhm.
what model we're looking for and everything. Because, if we don't mention everything that we want, it's going to be another reason for them to just decide otherwise, so we need to keep the pressure going and the pressure on.
So yeah, I mean, I think if you and I want to try and draft something
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
can send that along. I mean, I think GOL is meeting Tuesdays, maybe like every other Tuesday evening, or at least they met last Tuesday, yesterday evening. I don't know why my brain is having such a hard time making a thought.
Yeah, maybe, maybe before they meet the next time or
Mhm.
something. I don't know. But what do you all think? What would be best? Because then we could share something if we come up with a draft, then we can share something with the group and then we can send it off.
That
Or do you
works.
want to wait until the next meeting, I guess? I'd say
Um,
sooner the better, right?
yeah,
I think we could, sorry, you didn't recognize me.
go for it.
Um, I think we could also pull from some of the what we stated in the slides. I mean, I think we were very clear about our concerns with the ROB in terms of what was being presented. So I think we probably could pull something right from the slides, and that we've already agreed that
Mhm.
we presented it. We all agreed on that. So if you wanted to send it even faster,
Yeah, true, true, true. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Am I the holder of the slides? Yeah, okay.
Think so. Yeah.
Sorry. All right, I will try and pull the text of those slides
Yeah, because that would be
tomorrow.
easy. Yeah, to just cut and paste.
Yeah. And I mean, so because when I took over Deborah's spot on the little group that we had, I definitely did some extra reading on the Nicole website and like basically what they themselves say is that the majority of things that have become review boards became review boards because there was so much pushback from police unions to have any other model that was like the common ground that they were able to find. And I was like, well, that seems like not a good reason to just go with a model because. Um, so,
Exactly.
so I will see if I can find that exact citation. And I was actually, when Rabbi Deb and Brian were presenting to town council before we presented, I was writing down some things because I mean, I think it was Ithaca was a model that sounded like what we would really like to do. And they had been a review board and then changed because it wasn't working. So I think perhaps trying to find that information and citing that as well um,
Yeah, that's
might
good.
help. Um, Erica?
and then also the League of Women's Voters report. It's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, I should write all of this down. Oh, sorry. Ooh. Slides, League of Women Voters.
And you said Ithaca, right?
Yep.
And then the thing that you had researched when you were on the, you know, Rob committee.
Letter to GOL. All right. Um, Anything else about Rob before we move on to youth empowerment? Deborah, do you want me to just read Paul's email?
Yeah, I think we just read it. Yeah, so basically I contacted Paul and as you all know, I always put pressure on him to be like, can you appoint someone to attend our monthly meetings since we always have questions around youth empowerment and usually there's no one that can answer any of the questions that we have. And again, he just ignored my ask and sent this little update today at like 5:30, which I haven't even read. So this will be
Okay.
the first time I'm hearing the information along with all of you.
All right. So he said You requested an update on the status of the proposed Youth Empowerment Center for the meeting of the CSSJC. As you may recall, the town has identified 455,000 in funds that were designed as ARPA funds for this project. At the onset of the most recent presidential administration, we took steps to protect those funds by placing them in the town's reserves. We continue to identify these funds as designated for a youth empowerment center. Please note that to utilize those funds requires a vote of the town council for a specific purpose. Currently, there is no site nor project identified that could serve as a location for a youth empowerment center. If any member of your committee has suggestions for a location, please forward them to me. The next available possible opportunity I see is when the school department vacates the Wildwood Elementary School. The school committee would need to vote to turn that property to the town, and the town would need to determine how it wants to utilize this site. I do not know the district's timeframe for this, although we are on track for the current Wildwood student and staff to move to and occupy the new Amethyst Brook Elementary School in the fall of 2026. That will initiate a discussion of the future use of the Wildwood site. I do need to note that the town council has not prioritized a youth empowerment center in the town manager's goals for 2026. Nevertheless, staff continue to recognize the request along with others for capital funding for such a facility. Again, if you have thoughts on locations, please send them my way. Lastly, I also want to recognize the excellent work that the town's departments, Recreation, Crest, and DEI, continue to do in developing creative programming for youth in the town. I also want to celebrate the prestigious Municipal Innovation Award that was awarded to the Morning Movement and Mentoring Program that was presented to the town at the Massachusetts Municipal Association at its January conference. If anything changes, I will be sure to update you.
So he's saying that um the town council, one, the town council didn't put it in his goals, so that's a
Mhm.
problem. We need to address that for the town council because we don't know why that's not part of his goals. And two, um, what was the other thing? Like, does the town council need to say, okay, well, this money is earmarked for the youth empowerment? I mean, I don't know. I'm not clear on that.
So I think once there was a specific motion, like once, say they were going to use Wildwood as a site, they would have to put forward a motion to utilize $455,000 from reserves to whatever, renovate the building or, because
Hmm.
I don't know if if they would have the flexibility to use it for operating versus capital costs. Philip, do you know?
I do not know that.
Okay. That would be a question. But I believe that, for example, with the like millions and millions of dollars in surplus that we have again this year, that are being voted on the 23rd, like Paul kind of can propose things to the town council and come forward with like the orders, and then they would have to vote to approve it, or perhaps I don't know if they can put forward their own motion for what to do with it, but for example, I know that there's been conversation about using some of that surplus money to try and fix the middle school roof. Um, so I think they have to come with like a specific project and amount to you to move something out of free cash into whatever it's going to. Is
So,
that right, Philip?
That is correct.
Okay.
so
Um,
I think I interpreted it a little bit differently because if I heard it correctly, that money is still marked for youth empowerment. It is still there. I think he said when the new administration came in to protect the money, they did what they did, but it is still earmarked for youth empowerment. So it is still there for that. And so that's positive. And second, he gave us options because I had initially also thought about, okay, we're about to have this entire building that's going to be vacated. What is the town going to do with it? And now that we know there's a process of how to get it from what it is to what it could be, that's very helpful. I don't necessarily think that that may be the best option, but it's easily accessible on, public transportation. It's not very far from downtown. So that might be helpful. But I think we also talked about in our last meeting as well, how we as a committee can help identify locations. And I think he's from his email is suggesting that they're open to that. And to Deborah's point, yes, it doesn't seem as it's paramount to his goals for this fiscal year, but I didn't hear him say anything about we cannot raise the issue with him or with town council, especially if we get an audience before town council to, bring the issue forward. So I think in our retreat planning, I think this should be one of the topics that is talks about a lot is okay, we always had questions about what happened to that money. I think we have our answer today with that. So we know that there's money there. Now, hopefully together, given that we've made this a priority, I'm not saying that it's not a priority for the town, but it doesn't seem as to be like in the top list of things to do. So let's work together and put it in that list of, knowing that there's money there, knowing that there is, especially if there's a surplus. And let's be real, I don't think that $500,000 is going to do it. Um, so, but it is a starting point, and we should keep him at his word to say if we have solutions, bring them to him. So let's find solutions and have them say no, because again, that's what he did. He invited us to come up with ideas and solutions, and if we do that and they just blatantly say no, then we know for sure this is a deliberate act on the part of the town in terms of youth empowerment.
Thanks, Everald. Erica.
In the December meeting, that is when we actually made him tell us where the $455 were. And so it was brought up in front of town council, and the resolution did say that they continue supporting that all the recommendations are a priority. So it may not be one of his goals, but it may be folded into his goals in terms of if you've got the money and we state that this is a priority, then, it's part of your work to get it done. So I don't think it has to be a specific goal. He was there, and the town council was very clear that they reaffirmed that all the recommendations were a priority.
Yeah, that's a good point, Erica, to bring up, when we communicate in regards to the youth empowerment. Because I'm still, though, I hear what you're saying, Everald. I mean, but I'm still fuzzy in terms of how you get it out of free cash, to be able to use it for youth empowerment. And yeah, and then, I still think, yes, let's send them some locations, but obviously Wildwood, the town council will need to vote for that money to be used for youth empowerment, for Wildwood to be used as a youth empowerment center. So, I mean, there's different pieces that we need to really kind of like make sure that we incorporate when we do our kind of reaffirmation in regards to the youth empowerment center. And, and remember, there's 455 left. It was 500,000 to begin with. But then remember, he used whatever it was, 50 plus $1,000 or whatever it was to or 45,000 to whatever, do some type of study by the Donahue Center, which you've never seen. We've never seen an outcome of that study. We've never seen any report. We've never seen anything. So that's the other thing, that yeah, it's there, but he could end up just using it for other things though. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust it, It's just like the sooner it's actually earmarked for the youth empowerment center, that's when I'll sleep well at night in regards to the Youth Empowerment Center, you know? And yeah, it's not a lot of money. We know that they're going to have more money than this $455,000. But that's money that was already set aside for it, you know? And so they need to apply it to the Youth Empowerment Center. And we need to make sure that that's what happens, you know? And like I said, right now, I'm like very, you know, still concerned, very concerned. Avril, did you wanna?
No, and you should be concerned because this has been something that we've had on our agenda and been talking about for years now. And so it is, one of those things that again brings me back to what we're trying to do with measured goals. I think we can't just consistently talk about it, but we have to be more proactive. And it may not be actually, it shouldn't be our responsibility, rather, to take the lead on this. But it is obvious that we are going to have to do some legwork to make this happen. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
And one thing I do want to throw out is I think that the town council can review the town manager's goals and decide to change them. So that I can reach out to Alicia, who is the vice president of the town council now, and just make sure that that is in fact an accurate statement. But if so, that's something we can add to our list of possible pressure points. And we can talk about it at the retreat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point.
So let's see. Where did I put? Okay. So, oh yeah, I had sample bylaw on here and it's not in the packet and I think it's not on this computer that I'm using right now. It was from leftover from last year's, but or I mean, last month's um agenda item. Did anyone ever actually look at that? Because I know we didn't get to it last month. Because we can again table it for the next meeting if we want to do that. Sorry, I just lost all the windows and I couldn't see anybody's faces. Um,
So this is what bylaw again? Remind me.
so I had written a draft of a potential bylaw that we could try and figure out how to submit or how to get town council to submit regarding the pretext stops and consent searches, which were two of the policy recommendations that LEAP had made in Part B of the CSWG reports. And they had basically like laid out how, sample language to use. So I just kind of tried to put something together. Um, and I still am not really sure how the process to move this forward would go. But I also don't know where that bylaw went right now. So I'm okay tabling it if people want to table it or talk about it at the retreat. Because I don't see it in our packet. I know it was in last month's packet and we didn't get to it.
It's not in
Okay.
the packet.
Yeah.
I did review it. I think what we had talked about is, and I think it does fit into the retreat, how to work with our liaison. And one of the things was, putting together possibly a bylaw and then having our liaison help us shepherd it through. Does it go through the GOL first? Do we have to present it to town council, et cetera? But yeah, this is definitely a sample of a bylaw, and I think we definitely should discuss it. I have some questions about it in
Mhm.
terms of the specificity of it. But I think, we definitely could discuss it at the next meeting, or we could discuss it at the retreat in terms of using this as a method of pushing forward our charge.
Mhm.
Yeah, I say let's discuss at the retreat. I think we probably need a little bit more time than just what a regular meeting affords us, since we always have, obviously updates and this and that. And I think the retreat would be a good place.
That sounds good to me. And then the next item was the resolution related to ICE and whether we would want to consider co-sponsoring it as a committee. So I know I didn't send this out until today, so I will pull it up on my screen. I think I will try to share my screen and we'll see how it goes. Can you see a bylaw? Or
Yeah.
not a bylaw?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can you
Um,
read it? Can you read it?
yes.
Or is this super long?
It
I
is
didn't.
super long, so I can try and kind of
Maybe just
summarize.
read, maybe, yeah, just read the important parts, not the whole
All
thing.
right.
Yeah.
So I would say the biggest pieces of it are kind of outlining some of the ways in which federal law enforcement officers have violated various amendments in terms of their actions against both people that they are detaining and people who have been protesting. And so part of it is looking at the trying to curtail any 287G agreements, which is the agreements between like ICE and local law enforcement or like the Department of Corrections. And then part of it is asking, so it goes into, some of the horrible acts ICE agents and Border Protection agents have taken within Massachusetts, and then kind of lays out some of the state and federal laws that are potentially violated by some of the actions. So basically, the asks, I can read the resolved parts because that's kind of what they're asking to do. It says, now therefore be it resolved, we, the Amherst Town Council, do hereby condemn the unconstitutional actions of President Trump, his appointees, and federal agents engaged in unlawful operations to attack people in Massachusetts communities on the basis of their perceived race, ethnicity, language, or political preferences, and call on other communities and public officials to join in this condemnation. Be it further resolved that we call upon Attorney General Andrea Campbell, Hampshire County District Attorney David E. Sullivan, and Amherst Police Chief Gabriel Ting to take affirmative steps to protect residents of the Commonwealth, Hampshire County, and the town of Amherst from the unlawful actions of federal forces, including but not limited to making a public statement confirming the principles of announced in Neagle and Drury that federal off I'm sorry, there's like I'm just gonna do this for a second. Federal officials and agents are subject to state criminal jurisdiction, taking affirmative steps to collect evidence of criminal acts committed by federal agents, including through the creation and dissemination of an accessible online tool for citizens to submit evidence, issuing guidelines to local law enforcement to preserve evidence, especially in cases of federal non-cooperation with investigations, and beginning investigations where evidence indicates that a crime has been committed, regardless of the power or prestige of the federal office holder who is suspected of committing said crime. Be it further resolved that we call upon Governor Maura Healey to immediately cease all cooperation agreements with ICE, including ending the 287G agreements with the Massachusetts Department of Corrections and any informal agreements that may be in place. Be it further resolved that the clerk of the town council shall cause this resolution to be submitted to the Attorney General, Hampshire County District Attorney, and Amherst Police Chief and Governor Healey.
Mm.
So, I mean, the main points are non-cooperation between local and federal law enforcement related to immigration enforcement and allowing, asking state and local prosecutors to prosecute ICE agents or Border Patrol agents should they commit state crimes in the commission of their enforcement activities.
Mhm. And I do know that Maura Healey did do an executive order
Mhm.
that is some type of non-cooperation with ICE. I didn't read it, so that's why I'm not going into specifics. I don't know if you did, Everald, and that there's a bill that was also introduced to kind of delineate some of these kind of steps in terms of non-cooperation with ICE and things like that. And it's supposed to have some other things there too. Um,
No, I
so
didn't get a
and I
chance
think
to read
like
it. No.
yeah, and I think it deals with some of the like what we have in here, which is like some of the like if you're gonna violate laws, then you will, there will be investigation and you will be prosecuted, criminally if you're doing things to people, that you shouldn't be doing and violating, a constitution and state laws, then you're going to be prosecuted. So I know she already has that executive order and there's a bill that's introduced. So that might be something that, I'm going to see if I can kind of read up on it and maybe share some more information next meeting. But yeah, I'm good with this. I definitely want to vote this in. Erica?
I just quickly Googled it, and it says her executive order is entering into any new 287G agreements, but it also includes that they would need a warrant to go into schools, daycare, after-school programs, hospitals, community centers, courthouses, churches, nursing homes, and then definitely protecting the rights under the Constitution for individuals. So demanding legal action. Though I thought there was also something, and I think that may be in the bill, that they're not allowed to cover their faces. I mean, our police forces are not allowed to do that.
Mhm.
And I think that was part of the bill, but I it didn't say it here in this quick Google search.
And I do think that there was a separate, I think Senator Markey also then introduced a federal bill about face coverings. I think that that's what part of that dealt with. And I will just say that DA Sullivan did put out an announcement that he would prosecute ICE agents for violating criminal laws 2 Fridays ago, I think. So I do think in terms of would this actually be in like an enforceable thing? I think it could be. I don't think it's just words. I think that there would be the ability to make the words happen. And I think there would be the interest from some of the parties named at least to do so, or at least already have expressed some level of agreement with some of the principles of what's written. Um,
And so, oh, and for me, like I know your question was whether CSSJC should be co-sponsor. So yeah, I would definitely be in agreement with us being co-sponsor, but we need to take a vote to make sure everybody's on the same plane. But yeah,
I
I
think I
would.
would like a chance to read it first before we vote.
okay. Do you want to take a few minutes and just were you able to access it through the email,
I
or do
think
you
I,
want me to
I don't think
scroll
I
back
would.
up?
So if you let me go back and see.
Because you did, it's going to go in front of the town council on the 23rd.
Yes, so it did pass GOL yesterday in terms of being clear, actionable, and one other word that I can't remember right now, but basically, I think they made a few minor suggestions, um, but
Which email was it in?
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
oh, it was in an email today that said, let's see. It would be in the same thread as it says items for tonight. I sent it, but it's not an attachment. It is embedded
In the link.
in a link.
Okay, that's why I didn't see it. Okay,
Yeah.
yep, yep. You have to hit the link and open it up. I
Yeah,
So I
have.
sent it
unfortunately,
around like a
I was not able to open it up. I did try, I wasn't able to open it
you
up.
were not. Okay.
But
Oh, can you see my screen still? What's happening on my screen? Is it still the resolution? Okay. Because now I see everybody and that's confusing to me.
and Allegra, if we don't vote it in as CSSJC, can I be one of the community sponsors,
Yes,
like
and that would be
individually?
an option too, is if we don't feel like we have accurately addressed what it says tonight, but you want to read it on your own, we could all sign on individually if people feel comfortable doing so.
Yeah, because I would definitely send on individually if we don't vote it in as a group.
I
And I
don't want
will
to.
just,
I don't want to hold up our time. So if you guys are comfortable just like discussing something else and coming back to it,
okay.
in tonight's meeting, I can do a quick read.
Okay. And I will just say it was drafted by a person who practices constitutional law, so it wasn't me writing it. So it, I didn't do the research, but I would say it's probably pretty well researched, but it was not my personal research. Um, so I will, do you have it on your own device,
I do.
Everald?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
doo, doo, doo.
Yeah, so we can just circle back then
Yeah,
and do a
perfect.
vote at the end before we go to public comment.
Okay, let's see. I keep on losing things. Okay, do we want to go into retreat planning?
I noticed
Sure.
it wasn't in the packet, the second agenda. Did I miss it, or I sent to you and Angel the second draft?
Oh no, I think I might have missed something. Well, I missed that. And apparently if it wasn't in the packet, maybe Angel missed it too. Do you have it?
Yes. I don't know if you can give me hosting rights.
Sure. Or maybe Philip can if I
You
can't.
should be able to share. And if not, give me 1 second. Are you able to share?
Am I supposed to hit something in order to share?
Yeah, on the bottom of the screen, there's a little share thing. You just hit that, and then the screen that you would like to share for the web
Okay,
page.
so let me look at more. And nope, whiteboard result. Nope, I don't think I have it.
Okay,
On the top, nothing either. Hmm,
let's see then. I am going to make you a co-host, and then you should be able to do it from there.
okay. Oh yeah, here it is. Thank you.
Perfect.
Got it. All right. Entire screen. Can you see that?
Not yet.
Mm. All right, let me go back. Let's see. Share Chrome entire screen. Share. Okay. How about that? Nope. Can't see it.
No, not
Could
yet.
could be the fact that I have a Chromebook and it. I was just going to say something, but I won't use the term. It's pretty bad.
Erica, if you send it to me, I can pull it up.
Yep. All right. Let me just do that. Okay. Sorry. Okay, let me back up here. All right, now we have to get rid of you. See if I can just attach. Okay. Oops. Send this message. Yeah. All right. I just sent it. Yeah. The icon to share just never showed up. It says either cancel and I can't hit share. So, meanwhile, as it's coming, Angelica was having problems with email. I had sent her 2 emails and never heard back from her. Then I sent her a text via her phone, and she got back to me and told me that she's had problems with her emails. And she said she was going to look. I let her know that I wanted to discuss it today, and she said she would check the dates, but she hasn't gotten back to me yet. So I need to follow up with her again. But the fact that she didn't say no is a good thing. Um, but I'm hoping that she will give me an answer pretty soon, because then I'd have to contact Pat. Okay, so I revised the agenda. Before it was just very much a skeleton. Again, I mean, most of this information you already have. We did change the date to the 21st. So just a reminder, everybody, it's the 21st, not the 7th. That was one of the things, I had to reach out to Angelica again just to make sure she had the 21st and not the 7th. And so, part of our goals, could you make it a little bit bigger, a little bit clearer? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. All right. So, we had talked about our goals being very specific, how to work effectively with the town council, especially in terms of moving our charge forward, how to work effectively with our town council liaison specifically. So, one of the things that we wanted to do is actually invite our town council liaison once we know who that town council liaison is. But if that person doesn't come, we still could come up with very specific, measurable goals about how to work with the individual. And then develop very specific plans for the opening of the Youth Empowerment Center. So one of the things that we had discussed was maybe repurposing a building or coming up with locations. So those were sort of the 3 different areas. Could you just scroll down just a little bit? Okay. And so we wanted to walk out with very concrete, measurable goals. And some of the ways we had sort of suggestions that came up was mapping. So that was one of the things that I was going to talk to Angelica about, helping us map. And there are different ways of mapping. You could do trees where you can start off with a goal and then go backwards. How do we get to that goal? What are the different steps that we need to do in order to get to that goal? So hopefully, Angelica will be able to work with us on doing that, because it really takes a lot of time. It's a lot of brainstorming in terms of mapping, but it really takes a look at, what's our end goal and how do we actually get there, with all the different steps, and breaking it down as concrete as possible, because I think, the more concrete, the better. So the mapping exercise would be very specific in terms of, how do we work with town council, and then how to work with our liaison to make sure that the CSSJC's priorities stay on the town council radar, because I think it was one of the things that we really felt was critical, that the town council is constantly reminded about their commitment, their resolution, their vote, continuous to support this, and not just when we come up in front of them. Then we're going to have a break. So Philip, thank you. I put in the break just to give us like a 15-minute break, just to relax, breathe, get something to eat, and then really work on, after doing the mapping, really just pull out those identifiable, concrete, measurable goals based on a mapping exercise. And then, and that includes also the Youth Empowerment Center, the Multicultural Center, working with APD. So, I mean, part of it is that we have a lot of recommendations. And so that can translate into a lot of goals. But I think if we break down the steps and then try to figure out who can do what around some of those steps to move those forward. I mean, one of the things that we could start off with is actually something that we were able to really be able to do, which was we actually got Crest to be able to be on the dispatch. And so we actually have one of the goals that we wanted, we wanted to make sure happens, was it has been achieved. And think about, how did we do that? How do we make that be successful and use that for some of our other goals? And then one of the things that we had also talked about is reviewing the charge and the committee structure, which I think was raised by one of the town councilors. And I know, Allegra, you and Deborah had met with that town councilor about, do we want to think about how to sustain the CSSJC? Do we need to rethink about our structure? It might be, we might not have enough time to do that one. But at least take a look at that and possibly come up with some ideas of how we want to tackle that before we leave. So I don't want to put too much in, because literally 9 to 1 is not a lot of time. And I think the mapping exercise and coming up with concrete steps and goals is going to probably take up most of our time. But I think if Angelica can do this, she was really, really good on keeping us on track. And she was really, really good in feeding back to us what we'd achieved and what we, planned on achieving and what we hadn't done yet. So this is sort of what I was going to present to her and talk to her about. So this is the time that you can give me feedback. You want to change anything, you can do it. That's it. Thanks, Philip.
So do we want to talk though about some of the things that you had though on the bottom, which was materials too and stuff like that, like materials, location, food, stipend.
Yeah. So location, we still have the bank center, and thank you, Philip. He's going to be there to do the youth entrepreneur program, so he's agreed to it. I wanted to make sure the 21st was the date we wanted to do. I know Camille raised reaching out to Masuda. I'm just concerned that since it's an open meeting law, that we have to have a space that anybody can come to. I'm just a little concerned about a private establishment, even though we should have a second place in mind, because my understanding is that if renovations happen, we might get kicked out of the bank center. Do you have any ideas, Philip, of how that's going? Because that means you probably get kicked out too.
Yep. So right now, you all would be in the large activity room like last year or last time at your retreat. That should not be affected by the proposed date. We are looking to hear more information on that though in the upcoming weeks, but as of right now, that should not be an issue.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's great to know. Okay. I mean, obviously it's the group's decision about where to have it. I just feel in terms of accessibility, I just feel more comfortable having a public space versus using a private place. And then of course, there, might be other people say, well, why didn't you use ours? So it's up to you. If you want me to get in touch with Masood, I certainly can do that. But I'm just not as comfortable, being in a private space versus a public space. If it was one of our houses, that's fine. But a business, I'm not sure.
I'm fine with having it at the bank. That's fine.
I
We've done
just
it
still want
before.
you to get in touch with Masuda's about pastries.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
food.
all right. So since Camille raised it, I'm assuming she must have some sort of order, purchase order that we can. This is a big assumption. I'll get in touch with Camille, but since she raised it, maybe she has a purchase order that we can use to buy pastries from Masuda. Um, and
Yeah.
we definitely want to support local businesses in terms
Mhm.
of food.
And this is a local business of color too, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so even more so.
In terms of supplies, Philip was very, very kind newsprint, markers, note cards, little sticky pads. So I assume that I can tap you again,
Yep.
Philip. Thank
Yep.
you.
Just give us a list and we'll provide that.
Yeah, both Camille and Philip were absolutely marvelous in supporting us in the last retreat. So they're, what I asked for, I got. I know Camille has raised that, I have to give her enough lead time. This is why it's really important for Angelica to get back to me, enough lead time for making sure that we can put in for an honorarium.
Yeah, I mean, but do we know? Because I think though, if we knew how much we could pay her, that could also be an extra incentive for her to get back to us. Because did you tell her we are gonna give her a stipend this time around?
No, I didn't. But she, in the past, was pretty clear she would do it. The question is, how much of a stipend? We've never talked about it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think it's going to be dependent on what, whatever Crest has. But I'm thinking though, what you want to do with a helicopter, because again, for me, it's not okay to like, use people, people of color's time and not pay them. You know what
oh,
I'm saying? I mean,
absolutely.
that's not all right. So my thing is, you should contact them and be like, listen, we're working and be transparent. We're working on getting you a stipend. We don't know how much it is. But that is going to be our preference is to give you something, you know what I'm saying? To just tell
Absolutely.
you that we value your time. So I think you should put that in the communication to her, because I think, she would be like, she would feel valued that we're actually trying to do that,
Yeah. Yeah.
as opposed to thinking that again, she's going to have to donate her time, freely, again, because it's prep, it's all of those things, that she has to do to get ready to facilitate the whole thing from 9 to 1. Um, so I think that that's one thing. And then, yeah, and then just talk to Camille and find out like how much can we pay her, I mean, and I'm like I said, I think it's going to be dependent on the budget because Paul hasn't said anything in terms of actually giving us a budget. So we have to keep going through, either DI or CRES or what have you. And so that goes for both though. It goes for the stipend and also food. I mean, do we know like who's paying for, so let's say if we get pastries and coffee, tea, whatever we want, for the retreat, like who's paying for that? And again, I don't think we should be donating things. This is ridiculous.
No.
Why do we have
Last
to?
time- Yeah. Sorry, Deborah. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I'm just saying, why do we have to keep paying for things? The town, they're always throwing stuff and they always have money when they have their activities. So they should have money for us.
Last time, Camille put all the food together, and she got all that. I mean, it was a lot of good food. So it was not an issue at all last time. The issue was the stipend because it wasn't enough lead time, and I think this is enough lead time. So let me contact Camille right now and ask
Hmm.
her, and then I'll contact Angelica again.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Any feedback in terms of at least the structure?
Yeah, for me, I like it. I think it's good because you kind of gave that the bulk of it to really kind of work on some of those goals and strategies that we need to work on. And the three that you kind of pinpointed are the ones that we've talked about, and we continually talk about at our meetings. So for me, I think it's good. Yeah, whether we'll get to our actual charge, I'm not sure because we might end up spending a lot more time than we think on the goals, because that's really important. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I like it.
Thank you.
I think it makes sense. I think I agree with Deborah. I'd like to spend more time on the goals. I think the charge is important and it may be helpful to review, but I think after our one-on-one conversation with Anna, it felt like maybe what she said in the big meeting didn't make as much sense as trying to kind of tackle some strategies um, with kind of pinpointed um, like priorities and different strategies to address them. So I think spending the bulk of the time on that makes the most sense.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
No, thank you, Erica. You've done a ton of work on this, and we really appreciate you and appreciate all the work you've done and kept us focused so that we can get this retreat done. So that's just wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Uh, Everald, are you ready to talk about ICE resolution again, or should I
Nope,
move
I've been done.
Okay, all right. Thoughts?
Oh, we can put it to a vote. I will support it as it's written.
Okay, perfect. Does anyone want to make a motion to vote that the CSSJC support or put our name as community sponsors of this resolution?
So
I'll
move.
make a, oh, you can go ahead if you can go ahead, Emerald. I can second it.
Perfect. So there's a motion on the floor. We can take a roll call vote. Erica,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Everald,
Yes.
Lisette.
Yes.
And I am a yes, so I will let the organizers know that they can put CSSJC down as a sponsor. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you.
Ah,
Thank you for working with the community members to get this put together. And yeah, this is so much, so very needed.
perfect. Um, so I guess we can go on to public comment again. I see one attendee in the audience. Again, if you would like to make a public comment, you can use the raise hand function. And if you don't want to make a public comment, that is okay too. All right, seeing no hands, I did have the one item as later than or not anticipated before 48 hours. Yeah, that's the one. I was like, that's the wording. Um, so let me see if I can share it. Let's see. Okay. Is it the statement for Gills Autos?
Mm.
Or are we seeing the
Yeah,
agenda?
yeah.
Okay.
The draft statement is you probably have to scroll up a little bit
Yeah.
or scroll down a little bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it is a very short statement, and the thought was that it would be a co-statement between the Human Rights Commission and us. Um, the Human Rights Commission would meet next week to then decide whether to support the statement. Um, but I will just read out loud. And the Amherst Human Rights Commission and the Community Safety and Social Justice Committee are aware of the incident that occurred on January 30th in neighboring Belchertown involving former Amherst business owners Zulimar Despiau and Gilberto Rivas. The owners of Gill's Auto Repair reported to Belchertown Police that staff found a threatening note when they arrived at work around 8 a.m. The note uses racial slurs and threatens that the writers will return if the owners do not move out of Belchertown. The note is signed Your White Superiors. We acknowledge this is a hate crime and a violation of the human rights of the owners and staff members at Gills. We denounce the perpetrator's behavior and actions towards any and all members of our BIPOC community, no matter the distance they've gone from our town. To the owners and their staff, we extend our support as neighbors, customers, and friends. We acknowledge our own limitations as Amherst-based commissions, but we will utilize our position and resources within our jurisdiction to spread the word and any call to action to all residents of the area, including our town officials. Discussions within the commissions have already occurred and will continue until we have exhausted all possible options. The town of Amherst is at your disposal. So I
This is
guess that
horrific. I can't believe that, you know? I mean, that's just wow. So, so then they reported it to the Human Rights Commission, and then the Human Rights Commission was the ones that wrote up the statement. Is that
so
how
the
it?
yeah, the Human Rights Commission and we worked together, Ronnie Parker and I, to
Okay.
with some help from our friend Pamela. Um, but I think there was a larger conversation amongst some of the other neighboring towns too. And especially, I mean, I've been to Gills before, so they were previously across from the Cumberland Farms on the corner right by Fort River. Um,
Hmm.
and now they've moved down the road a little bit into Belchertown.
Yeah.
So we just
Yeah.
wanted to A, say that what happened is not okay, and B, acknowledge that this happened and that, whatever we're able to do to support, whether it's just asking, telling people, hey, this is a local BIPOC owned business, go patronize it. So
I have a quick question.
yeah,
I think this is a great idea, and I, absolutely support us signing on here. Um, the question is, the town of Amherst is at your disposal. Can we say that?
I don't know. I
It's,
mean,
I think the Human Rights Commission is, and so are we. But I don't
mhm.
know about the administration of the town. I'm sorry.
Philip.
That
I
is a good point.
I think that would be a correct assessment that it would probably have to say the town of Amherst's Human Rights Commission and CSSJC is at your disposal if that's what you would like it to say.
I think that's
Yeah.
reasonable.
Yeah, that's a good catch, Erica.
And I can't edit this document, but I can edit the one that goes to them but if we decide to take a vote on it, we can use that as a friendly amendment and just remember that I will change that.
Hmm. Yeah. Are there more questions? If not, we should take it to a vote.
I just have one question.
Mhm.
Did we actually see a police report from Belchertown?
So I have seen, so there was um, it was in the Gazette the other day, and I
It was
can
on the
send
news
the
too. It was
article
in,
around.
yep.
But I
It was
mean
on, yep.
there was a picture of the actual note itself. Um, and I have not seen a police report from Belchertown, but I do know that well, again, from the article, it said that there has been an investigation that's been opened, and that I guess the Gills camera didn't have cameras or cameras weren't working, but some of the surrounding businesses have given footage over. So that makes me think that there's an active investigation going on. But no, I've not seen an actual police report.
No, no, no. So you answered my question. I wanted to
Okay.
make sure that we're signing on to something that, we've actually had some credibility attached to it other than
Yeah.
just hearsay. Yeah.
No, no, I mean, it's been in the news and
Okay. Yeah. So yes, I think this is a great idea. Mhm.
would someone like to, because I can't technically as the moderator of the meeting, but would somebody like to motion to a vote?
I
Oh,
like to make a motion. I like to make a motion that we vote on supporting this statement as the CSSJC.
I second your motion.
Thank you. And I would like to make a friendly amendment that I will change the language of the last sentence. Okay. So we will do a roll call vote. Deborah,
Yes.
Everald,
Yes.
Lisette,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
and me, yes. All right, so I will send this, change it, send it to Philip. Should I send it to you as
Yeah,
the
you can send it to
liaison?
me and I'll make sure that the Human Rights Commission has it in their packet.
Perfect. All right, and guys, it is 8:15, and I think we're done.
Wow.
This is like wild. I'm gonna Let's stop this and just make sure. Yeah, I think that was all she wrote. Um, so we are meeting again on, I think it would be March 11th would be the second Tuesday, because I think it's the same calendar setup as January, as whatever month we're in now.
Yep, it's March 11th.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. And then we will have about a week and a half until our retreat from then. So, I will put forward something about the Rob bylaw. Everald was going to contact Sean Mangano and then work on the Crest letter for next time. Was there something we were going to do about Youth Empowerment Center other than really focus on it at our retreat? Was there a ask for next time, just so that I remember?
I don't think it was an ask. Oh,
Actually, there
There.
was.
Okay.
oh, there was?
So Allegra, you were going to talk to Alicia to see if we can change goals of the town manager.
Okay.
And
Oh,
if we
yeah.
can, then we put it in there.
Okay. Perfect.
Mhm.
All right. I think those were the only tasks. That seems like enough. And I hope everyone has a nice month of February, and we'll see you again March 11th.
Thank
Happy
you for
Black
all your
History
work.
Month, everyone.
Happy
Oh,
Black
thank
History
you.
Month.
Maybe the whole year.
All right. It
Yeah,
is 8:17 and
exactly.
we are adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you for all
Yay.
your work.
Yeah, thank
Bye.
you all. Have a good evening.
You too.